China is secretly pointing missiles at India. China shows friendship but threatens India secretly. While China and India shake hands and smile for cameras at diplomatic meetings, something completely different is happening high up in the frozen mountains near Pangong Lake. China is secretly building a hidden missile base just 110 kilometers from where our soldiers martyred in Galwan. But we did not even notice it for months. Inside this base, advanced missiles are ready, with launch positions so well hidden that even satellites cannot show what's happening. And all of this is aimed straight at India's newest Nyoma airfield in Ladakh. But what's truly shocking is, our intelligence completely failed to detect it for months, leaving us blind to a major threat right on our border. So, what exactly is China hiding under those sliding roofs? Why is this base directly facing India's new Nyoma air base? Why did our intelligence take so long to spot this? And most importantly, why are we trying to build friendships while they are busy building a secret missile complex near our border? Let me show you exactly what's happening at our border. It's late July 2024. A researcher named Damian Simon, who studies satellite images to track military activity, is looking closely at pictures of Pangong Lake. He's an open-source intelligence expert, known for spotting Chinese military projects long before most governments notice them. On the Chinese side of the lake, he sees new buildings, fresh roads, and signs of construction. But at that time, no one knew what those buildings were really meant for. It took months to understand the truth. And when experts finally figured it out, it shocked everyone in the defense world. Those buildings were not normal storage sheds. They were missile launch sites with special sliding roofs. These roofs can open and close, letting missile vehicles roll out, fire, and hide again, all without being seen from satellites. Experts say similar secret roof systems have also been found at Chinese military bases in the South China Sea and Xinjiang, showing that this is part of a larger plan by China to keep its weapons hidden. So, what exactly has China built here? This is not a small base. It spreads over almost 4 square kilometers, which is about the size of 500 football fields. In fact, it's even bigger than India's airbase at Nyoma. The base has everything: command and control buildings, barracks for soldiers, vehicle sheds, ammunition storage, radar systems, and those special hidden missile pads. And what missiles are we talking about? They are the HQ-9 surface-to-air missiles, China's version of the Russian S-300. But the HQ-9 also has Chinese radar and electronics, giving it longer reach and the ability to attack multiple targets at the same time, similar in concept to America's Patriot missile system. These missiles can destroy targets up to 200 kilometers away and hit aircraft flying as high as 30,000 meters. They can track several targets at once and guide 16 missiles to attack 8 aircraft at the same time. From detection to launch, it takes just 10 to 15 seconds. Our Sukhoi fighters, Rafales, and transport helicopters carrying supplies to forward bases, all of them are within this system's deadly range. Now, before we go deeper into why China is hiding these missiles, I just want to say this. I've spent a lot of time and effort uncovering this story, and no mainstream media is talking about it. If you value real research and truth that others ignore, please subscribe and support this channel. It really helps me keep bringing you more stories like this. So, why is China hiding the missiles under a roof? Why not just deploy the missiles openly like traditional air defense systems? Because China learned valuable lessons from modern warfare. In recent conflicts, exposed missile systems get destroyed by precision strikes before they can even fire. So, China looked at what works best for them. They studied their own installations in the South China Sea, where they use similar retractable roof designs on artificial islands. The logic is brutal and simple. If your enemy can't see your missiles, they can't destroy them. And if they try, they will lead huge firepower which could start a war. This is what military analysts call a concealment strategy. Confuse your enemy so much that they can never be sure what's inside which building. Even if Indian satellites spot the base, we still won't know how many missiles are there or if they are ready to fire. Imagine fighting an enemy who can disappear, shoot, and hide again within seconds. That's the challenge our Air Force now faces. Let's look at the geography for a moment. Pangong Lake. You've seen it in movies and photographs, that stunning blue water surrounded by barren mountains. But strategically, it's a knife edge. The lake is 134 kilometers long, running east to west. India controls roughly 45 kilometers from the western end. China controls the remaining 90 kilometers. The line of actual control cuts right through the water. On the northern bank, there are 8 mountain ridges jutting out into the lake like fingers. We literally call them finger 1 to finger 8. India says the LAC is at finger 8. China says it's at finger 2. During the 2020 standoff, Chinese troops moved closer to finger 4, which caused the deadly Galwan clash. After disengagement talks, China moved back east of finger 8 and India stayed near finger 3, making the area between finger 4 and finger 8 a no-patrol zone. Now, this new Chinese missile base sits on the eastern edge of the lake, just 110 kilometers from Galwan Valley. From that height on the Tibetan plateau, Chinese radars can see deep inside Indian territory. Every aircraft taking off from Leh, every helicopter carrying supplies, they can see it all. And here's the bigger twist. This is not the only base. China has built another missile base in Gar County, about 65 kilometers from the LAC, directly facing India's new Nyoma air base. Now remember this, India is spending 230 crore rupees to upgrade Nyoma into a fighter base with a 2.7-kilometer runway at 13,710 feet altitude. It is supposed to be ready by October 2025 and will give us huge air power near the LAC. But China has placed its new missile system directly opposite it, like a gun pointed at our new base. So what does this mean for India? Every mission near the border has become much more dangerous now. Fighter jets taking off from Leh can be watched from the moment they leave the ground. Transport planes flying regular routes to supply soldiers at the border can be easily targeted. Helicopters like our Apaches, Chinooks and Mi-17s are slower and fly lower, making them easier to hit. The Chinese HQ-9 missile system can destroy helicopters very easily. Even our surveillance drones are now at risk because China has advanced air defense systems in place. This completely changes the military balance in eastern Ladakh. Earlier, India had a strong advantage in the air. Our Air Force could fly missions more freely because China's air bases were far away and not as advanced. We could support soldiers on the ground, watch enemy movements, deliver supplies, and even strike Chinese positions if needed. That has now changed. China's new air defense systems have created danger zones where our aircraft can't fly safely, weakening our support for ground troops, limiting attack options, and giving China a clear tactical edge. As defense analyst Ajay Shukla put it, China's growing network of radar and missile defenses in Tibet aims to deny India control of its own skies. But wait, some of you might be thinking, doesn't India have the S-400 air defense system, which is even better than China's HQ-9? Yes, we do. India has ordered 5 S-400 systems from Russia. 2 are already operational, one protecting the China border in the northeast and another covering the western sector facing Pakistan. The S-400 is indeed superior. It can hit targets up to 400 kilometers away compared to the HQ-9's 200 kilometers, and it uses more advanced radar technology. But here is the catch. China also has S-400 systems, bought from Russia and stationed at airbases like Hotan and Ningchi in Tibet. So, both sides have advanced air defense. The difference lies in positioning and infrastructure. China's facilities are fortified, hidden, and permanent, built over years of planning. Many of our deployments are more recent and less developed. We are catching up, but we are not there yet. So what can India do now? What are our countermeasures? We are not helpless here. First, electronic warfare. Chinese air defense systems, including the HQ-9, rely on radars that can be jammed or deceived. India already has strong electronic warfare tools that have worked well against Chinese equipment in other theaters. Second, standoff weapons. The BrahMos supersonic cruise missile can be launched from over 400 kilometers away, beyond the HQ-9's range. Our Scalp missiles, our upcoming Nirbhay cruise missiles, all of these can strike from distances the HQ-9 cannot reach. Third, anti-radiation missiles, which can lock onto enemy radar signals and destroy them. DRDO is already finalizing an indigenous anti-radiation missile called Rudram 2, designed to attack radars like the HQ-9's. Fourth, terrain masking. Our aircraft can fly low and use the Himalayan mountains as cover to avoid Chinese radar. Fifth, and most importantly, building our own comprehensive air defense network with indigenous systems like QRSAM, Akash, and additional S-400 units to cover every critical sector. Infrastructure is also key. The Nyoma airfield must be completed quickly despite the threat. This base will let our fighter jets operate much closer to the LAC, giving faster response times and longer patrols. Now here's where the story gets really interesting, the diplomatic paradox. While China was secretly building missile bases at Pangong, its officials were attending BRICS and SCO meetings talking about peace and cooperation. In the very same weeks, India reopened tourist visas for Chinese citizens after a 5-year pause. Prime Minister Modi met President Xi at the SCO summit in Tianjin in August 2025. Both leaders smiled, shook hands, and talked about partnership, saying differences should not become disputes. They discussed resuming direct flights, which restarted in October 2025, and the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra also resumed, letting Indian pilgrims travel through Chinese territory to the sacred site. On the surface, everything looks like normal. Relations are improving, right? But underground, literally underground in some cases, China continues building military infrastructure at a furious pace. Permanent bases, strong bunkers, hidden missile sites, and wide radar networks. This is what we call the talk and build strategy. China engages diplomatically, signs agreements, participates in summits, all while systematically strengthening its military position. And this is not unique to India. China does the same in the South China Sea. They sign declarations with ASEAN countries about peaceful resolution while building artificial islands and militarizing them. So what's going on? Is China being deceptive? Or is this just how major powers operate? The truth is complex. From China's perspective, they are simply developing their own territory. The Pangong facility is on the Chinese-controlled side of the lake. They would argue it's defensive, protecting their airspace and forces. They would say that India also builds infrastructure and deploys military systems, so why should not they? From India's perspective, the location and capability of these facilities clearly threaten Indian assets and operations. Even if technically on Chinese territory, their purpose is to deny India freedom of action in our own airspace near our own border. Now, let's also talk about intelligence failures, because this is critical. The fact that construction began in early to mid 2024 and was not identified until late July 2024 and then took several more months to understand the true purpose of the structures, this is concerning. India has invested in satellite capabilities, including the RISAT radar imaging satellites and Cartosat high-resolution imaging satellites. We operate drones including Israeli Herons and American Sea Guardians. We have signals intelligence capabilities. We benefit from intelligence sharing through the Quad framework with the US, Japan, and Australia. Yet, despite all this, we relied on a private researcher and commercial satellite companies to first identify and then interpret this facility. So, what does this really tell us? It shows that India needs better coverage, more satellites with sharper images and quicker revisits over the border. It also shows we need faster analysis to spot changes and understand their importance in real time. We must combine all types of intelligence, satellite images, signal data, and on-ground reports to get a complete picture. The good news is, India is already moving in that direction. We are launching a 52 satellite constellation for enhanced space-based surveillance and developing our own satellite technology so we don't have to rely on foreign systems. But we must move faster to stay ahead. So what does this mean for India and for everyone watching? First, we need to face the reality. China is not unbeatable, but they are serious, careful, and patient. They are building military strength that could limit India's options for decades if we don't act. Second, we must speed up our response, build more infrastructure, add more air defense systems, improve surveillance, and use all our capabilities together effectively. Third, we must stay strong while talking, negotiate from a position of strength, and never mistake diplomacy for giving up. So here is my question for you. Is it time for India to rethink its approach towards China along the LAC? Are we underestimating the scale of China's military buildup along our border? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this video gave you new insights, don't forget to subscribe. It really motivates me to create even more for you. Jai Hind.